Late at night, a train pulls into a deserted station. A few passengers step off, stretching after a long journey. Some hurry home, some wait for their next connection, and some never make it to their destination. Because somewhere in the shadows, a predator is watching. A man who moves from state to state. A man who boards trains but never buys a ticket. A man who has no home, no attachments, just a deadly urge to kill. Over 25 days, 5 people were found dead. Strangled. Stabbed. Mutilated. But the killer? He had vanished, leaving behind nothing but fear. This is the chilling story of Rahul Karamveer Jat, the man who turned India's railway stations into his hunting ground. Before we dive into this chilling case, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive into the world's most shocking true crime stories. It helps us bring more gripping content your way. Meet Rahul Karamveer Jat. 29 years old. Born in Rohtak, Haryana. A drifter, a criminal, and, as police would later discover, a cold-blooded murderer. Jat was a school dropout, never making it past class 5. He had no stable job, no home, and no ties. His entire life revolved around crime. More than 13 cases of theft, robbery, and arms smuggling were already registered against him. But in October 2024, something changed. This was not just about stealing anymore. This was about killing. His reasons were terrifyingly simple. A look, a smile, a cigarette, anything could set him off. His victims had no connection to him. They were simply at the wrong place, at the wrong time. The first known victim was a 35-year-old man at a railway platform in Bengaluru. It started with something as small as a cigarette. Jat had been loitering around the platform when he saw the men smoking a beedi. An argument broke out. What it was about, we may never know. But what we do know is that it ended in murder. In a sudden fit of rage, Jat strangled the men to death. No weapons. Just his bare hands. And then, as if nothing had happened, he simply walked away, blending into the crowd. November 14, 2024. Udvada railway station in Gujarat. The victim was a 19-year-old college student. She had just finished a long journey and was texting on her phone, smiling at something on the screen. But for Jat, that smile meant one thing: she was laughing at him. He followed her off the train. A dark, isolated path. She never saw him coming. He strangled her to death. But that wasn't enough. Police later revealed a disturbing detail: Jat returned to the crime scene hours later, for necrophilia, which is erotic interest in corpses. This wasn't just about anger anymore. This was something far more terrifying. 5 days later, Jat strikes again, this time inside a moving train. A 63-year-old man, traveling in a coach reserved for differently abled passengers. Vulnerable. Alone. Jat saw an opportunity. He stabbed the man multiple times and robbed him. The train kept moving. No one noticed until it was too late. By the time the train reached the next station, the killer was already gone. Jat's fourth victim was a 46-year-old woman near Secunderabad railway station. The details are still unclear, but the outcome was the same: strangulation, murder, and disappearance. The fifth and perhaps most brutal crime happened on a moving train near Solapur, Maharashtra. A young woman traveling alone. The compartment was almost empty. She was dozing off, unaware that the men sitting a few rows behind her had been watching her the entire time. Jat made his move. He strangled her. Raped her. And then, as if erasing his tracks, he threw her body off the moving train. By the time her body was discovered, Jat was hundreds of kilometers away. It all started with the fourth murder, Secunderabad, November 24, 2024. The woman's body was found in the exact same manner as the second victim in Gujarat. Strangled. Items missing. No clear suspect. But something caught the attention of investigators: the way the bodies were positioned. It was almost identical. Both victims had their hands placed neatly by their sides. Their eyes were open. The same eerie pattern. That is when police found that this was no random crime. This was the work of someone who had done it before. The police ran a database check, and that's when it hit them. Across multiple states, Karnataka, Gujarat, Telangana, Maharashtra, the same pattern. Bodies near railway stations. Victims strangled or stabbed. No forced entry. No personal connections. This wasn't a coincidence. This was a serial killer. With the murders now connected, the police began looking for one crucial clue: what linked all the crime scenes. Surveillance footage from each station was analyzed. Thousands of hours of CCTV were reviewed. And then, a breakthrough happened. A man with a slight limp was spotted in multiple stations: Bengaluru, Udvada, Katihar Express, Secunderabad. Every single place where a murder had occurred. But that wasn't enough. The police needed something stronger. And then, he made a mistake. He left behind a backpack at a railway station. Inside were the clothes matching the suspect on CCTV. And a key detail was stolen belongings from one of the victims. The police spot him. The limp, the clothes, and the same men from the CCTV footage. They move in swiftly. No fight and no struggle. Jat's reaction was calm and almost indifferent. His face betrays nothing. When he was caught, he simply told officers, "I know what you're here for. It's over." Police said Jat mostly slept at railway stations and traveled by train, making it difficult to identify him. He also found his victims in moving trains, especially in the coaches meant for differently abled passengers. Police said the accused confessed to looting and murdering people whenever he found them alone, and raping women, especially in the coaches, meant for differently abled passengers. It wasn't until later, during interrogation, that the depth of his mental deterioration came to light. Rahul Jat had been living a life of chaos, fueled by rage, abandonment, and a disturbing need for control over others. His actions didn't stem from a single trigger, they were the culmination of years of unresolved trauma, loneliness, and hatred towards society. Police revealed that Jat saw his victims as objects. Killing wasn't personal. It was a means to an end, a way to feel power, to control, to dominate. One psychiatrist suggested that Jat may have had undiagnosed antisocial personality disorder, a condition common in serial offenders. What do you think? Could he have been stopped earlier? Could his mental state have been treated? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.